Welcome back to Finnegan's Garage. Thank you guys for hanging out, especially those of you that went to fsmgarage.com and bought the merch, because I have new merch. I have 3 good things to tell you about. First off, brand new shirt. Ready for this? Yeah. Burnouts, bacon, and beer. Those are pretty much the 4 basic food groups, because 2 of those I probably have twice as more than I need. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. Also, we're gonna give away the Millermatic 142 welder in this episode. That's right, we are announcing the winner. Could be you. Stick to the end of the video to find out. And we're working on the Cadillac. I have a brand new radiator from Delta PAG. We're gonna use that welder to install that radiator in this Cadillac. Let's go. This is a custom-built aluminum radiator from Delta PAG. And what makes it special? Well, it was made for the Caddy. Not your Caddy, and really not even my Caddy, but a Caddy. It's very universal. In fact, if you look closely, there's no filler neck, there's no drain, there's nothing in this, but it has the core, it has the fan shroud, and it has these awesome dogs that bark a lot. What makes this radiator cool is that, first off, high quality construction and these awesome brushless fans. These flow a stupid amount of air. The Caddy should not overheat with this. It has a built-in digital fan controller. Temp probe goes in the cooling system. Then I get to tell this thing at what temperature I want to turn on and off. It's adjustable right here with these buttons on board. And again, flows a ridiculous amount of air. However, it's kind of universal. There are no mounts. There is no water in and out yet, because we have to finalize where it's gonna go in the car, and today that's what we're doing. We're gonna fix our core support, which is kind of Bluetooth, there isn't one. We're gonna make mounts for this thing, we're gonna get it in the car, and once this is in place, that means I can put the passenger fender back on this side of the car, get the gap where I need to the door. Once that's set and this side of the core support is secured, then I can take this side apart and finish the job we started a couple videos ago, which was bending the roll cage tubing and mounting the turbo on that side. Once those things happen, oh my God, the car just falls together at that point. You're talking hot side, cold side of the turbo system, wiring, plumbing, interior, steering, brakes, suspension. I mean, the car will just be track ready in minutes.
Days.
That's what I'm telling myself, yes, days. But anyway, like I said, we're gonna use this welder in this video, and at the end of this video, we're giving this thing away. You guys get to find out who took it home. Good luck. I really like this oval tubing. In fact, I wanna keep it in the car, and it was temporarily supported by a piece of box tubing here and here. Now I had to cut this side off to get our roll bar tubing to go down and attach to the frame. That was a couple of videos ago when I installed the turbo on that side. The reason I haven't done this side is I don't wanna cut this loose just yet. I have a really good gap between the fender and the door over there, and on this car, I kind of care about that. So before I rip this side apart and install that turbo and that bar, I want this actually secured. So we're gonna install the radiator. The radiator needs to sink down into the frame rails because it's taller than I want it to be. It also needs to go forward towards the motor so that I have more room up front for my air conditioning condenser and whatever else I might have back here. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna notch the frame rails here and plate it so the radiator can sink down. The radiator should sit right under this bar. This bar should go right across the top of the core. Then we can make mounts off this bar to hold the radiator, while at the same time making mounts that triangulate this bar down to the chassis. Once that's done and this is secure in place, then I can take this fender off because I know where it's gonna go and it'll bolt and, you know, maintain our gap. That fender can go on, all that good stuff. So first things first, we're gonna set the radiator in, kind of show you what we're talking about, and then mark the frame rails to cut it. It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited.
Okay, let's get to work.
Let's go to work.
I'm ready to go cruise this thing.
Oh yeah, like any minute now, we'll just be
Someday,
out. I have a goal. I don't wanna say the date or the event, but I have an event in mind, I have a goal. It's about 6 months away. And I like to go there. It's doable, you know, as long as we don't see a squirrel and get distracted. Like right now, if you turn around, the garage is empty. Like the super jets are in here because it's summertime and we're using them.
Those are quite a distraction though.
Yeah, but those run. Like we don't have to actively work on these things, although the turf on this thing needs some work.
Doesn't stop us from riding it.
Right. there's no other vehicle in this garage except the Cadillac, which means we should be able to just work on this and not much else, except for times like, oh, by the way, next week we're going to Mooresville to work on Blasphemy again. That should be our only distraction, you know, other than the Bristol 1000 and maybe LS Fest and SEMA, World Finals of Drag Boat Racing. There's not a lot happening between now and the end of the year. We're fine.
Distractions.
Everything's fine. All right, yeah, let's I'm gonna
People have worse distractions.
yeah, like jobs, actual jobs. All right, I'm gonna put this in here. Okay, so up until now, this is where this has been sitting, and which is fine, except I need to put an AC condenser in here and God knows what else. Probably not an intercooler, because I think here's where I've settled on how we're gonna run the car. I'm pretty sure we're gonna run it on methanol at the drag strip, because I don't want to plumb an intercooler, and it'll make more power. I think I've decided against using 2 sets of injectors and all the plumbing nightmare and maintenance that involves, because with an intake this low, the second set of injectors has to be down the valley of the intake, which just makes maintenance a nightmare. So what I'm thinking is single set of injectors on the outside of the runners. This car's going to spend 90% of its life driving around, not necessarily racing. When we go to the drag strip occasionally, we just pop the fuel rail off, put in the bigger injectors, switch to methanol, go fast, and then we're done. We put it back because street car. So I think that's what I've settled on doing. So we'll either be plugging these holes and just running the outside, or swapping this for a intake with a single set of injectors. Not sure which, but that's my plan today. I reserve the right to change my mind 12 more times. Anyway, I want the radiator. Ideally, I want this bar right down the middle of this radiator because I think it would look cool. So that means moving the radiator backwards. But if you look, I only have so much room to go backwards. I've got about 4.5 inches, which is about how much room this has from here to here. So I think this will be a combination of move the radiator backwards, move the bar an inch forward. It'll all land where it needs to be, and it'll be amazing. So step number 1, put a floor jack under this fender so it can't sag, and it probably won't because it's a Cadillac. Take the bar out, cut the support out, put the radiator where we want it, mark the frame rails, cut the frame rails. Been repainted. Car's definitely been repainted.
Yeah.
But I don't see any...
I'm not going to show anybody the trunk stuff.
Yeah. I don't see any real damage though, but the paint has been redone. It's odd. It's got primer here and it's shiny, which is no wonder why the paint didn't stick to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we want to do is unbolt this bar from here to here.
Okay.
Cut that off there and here. And then we'll remount the bar probably an inch further forward.
Do you have more of this?
I got this bar from Jimmy Bullard at MRC Fab, the dude in the shop that made the chassis. They're in NASCAR country in Mooresville. And I've never seen this oval bar like this before. And this was just supposed to be temporary, but I like the oval bar so much that I'm like, no, I want to keep this as part of the build. So, yeah, we're going to save this as best we can.
It might be just... I think you got to come short. Let me get a 2x4.
It might not even sag. That's probably good enough.
It might not even sag. Good old Cadillac.
Yeah, you get a Cadillac. Strong. Okay, so it's sketchy but effective. We have a floor jack with a piece of wood holding up the fender. We're just trying to maintain this gap. It's a nice gap. Got to be honest, I don't think it's going to change once that's unbolted from that makeshift core support. Because to be honest, the whole time I was at Jimmy's place, there were people leaning on these fenders with no inner fenders and no core support in this thing, and that never changed. We cut the entire floor out of this car, and there were people leaning on the fenders just looking at stuff, imagining what this thing could be like, and these fenders never changed. I mean, the Cadillac is stout automobile. This is a Dragon blanket. Told you about these guys before. Came from Wire Care, and it's a welding blanket, essentially. It will stop the sparks and protect the glass. It's not flammable. It's awesome. And Joe, I believe, is either going to death wheel or sawzall that. And once that's cut from the frame, this will come right out. And then we'll find out whether this is going to fall. I don't think it's going to, but I'm going to stand over here and watch just in case. Let's talk about future mods for this thing. Back seat stays. Side panels go back in. I'm hoping the factory bench goes back in. We'll see. You know, this floor is higher than stock because we've channeled the body down over the frame. And I think it's going to work, but we'll see. This bar is going to get modified. I think we're going to do something interesting that my friend Shane McClellan did in his Crusty Nova before, which is kind of a half funny car cage. And so the harness bar didn't come all the way across. It went to there and then forward and down to the floor so that people could get in and out. We'll see. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm never done. I'm never done, but I'll stop. Go ahead. Okay, let's watch the gap.
Yeah, what happened there?
Will it change?
That came right off.
It came right off. The gap did not change, dude.
Did move?
Nah, it didn't move. We're cool. We are cool. Man, just rip that on off there. That oval tubing. All right, and now we can set the radiator there. Hey, do me a favor. Cut that tube off. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the radiator in
Where you want
kind of temporarily.
Figure out where we can.
Where the bar can go. Yeah. We'll establish the gap.
Old core support.
What's that? That's where,
the old core
yeah, that's
support?
where the original core support would have gone. So we'll set the radiator in, establish our gap, and then line up the bar and go, okay, here's where we need to cut the frame rails, and here's where we want the bar to go.
The cool thing is that this, even if we come out to here, we can easily make that oval bar lay in here and then just bolt. That whole core support can be bolted in.
If it lines up, that'd be great.
Yeah. You want me to flat this to... No?
Not right now, because we might end up just cutting that all off. Would you hold? Yeah. Would you put the bar across?
A little high. Oh,
We're gonna sink it down in. Right now we're just.
The whole purpose of this video.
It's all right. It's all right.
The hard part's going to be making sure. Well, as long as the chassis is square, we can measure off the end of the chassis to make sure it's squared up right.
Yep. What I want to do now is just temporarily set the throttle body up there and make sure we have enough room to come out of the throttle body and turn our tubing. For those of you at home that's wondering, this intake came from Sean's Custom Alloy in Australia. And it is a beautiful chunk of CNC aluminum. Let me give you 3 good reasons for ordering from Motion Raceworks. Reason number 1, high quality, made in the USA parts. Like this Icon throttle body. This thing is awesome. High flow, 100% CNC built aluminum, provisions for an IAC motor. You can drive it with a cable or a rod. Reason number 2, they have a lot of options for the throttle body, like this billet 90-degree transition. Look at the machine work in this thing. I know it's powder coated black, so it's gonna be hard to see, but look at that transition. Parts like this make it really easy to save time. I can make this at home. We can weld this together, cutting and chopping tubing. You don't have to. This is already done. It's gonna be better than what I'm gonna make, and it just saved a bunch of time. 3rd reason, when I ordered this, right? I got a text saying my order was placed. I got a text saying my order shipped. I got a text saying my order was about to be delivered. And yes, the dogs barked, letting me know UPS was here. I walked upstairs, found the package on the porch, and by the time I walked downstairs, the UPS dude was gone, and I got a text saying my order was delivered. Like, if that isn't customer service, I don't know what it is. I do know what it is. You know what it is?
Most important of all.
Free lollipops with every order. At one point, I think we got fruit snacks, but the lollipops are nice too. So Huge fan of this company. All right. I'm just going to temporarily bolt this together. Right now, all I'm doing this for is to figure out the spacing between this thing and the radiator. This thing is also O-ringed, which is nice. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. Let's go over there. Thank goodness for somebody that invented ball and T-handles.
So ball and Allen in general.
Yeah, for when you gotta get in there at those weird angles. Okay, and these are not tight, but that doesn't matter.
Enough.
Yeah, all right, so now we can set our radiator in here and know that our tubing, which is gonna be the inlet for the motor and the outlet for the turbos, we know this is how much space we need. This needs to go either behind the bar or in front of the bar and reach the turbo. The radiator can go here, and we can shove this, you know, I'd like to leave probably a 3/4 inch gap between here and here. And then that should leave us a lot of room up front for the condenser and whatnot. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that, if you were to center the bar in here, which I like the way this looks, that would put the bar, I think, just ahead of this, which is directly in line with this. Like you said, we can make a really nice L bracket, triangulate it from here to here, that bolts right into the core support there. Dude, that's gonna be slick. It's like it was meant to be. Well, this notch can be, you know, the notch is gonna be bigger than it needs to be. So we can kind of rough do it for now. We can notch this side and then measure it over there. So that would be on the outside right there. And then it's gotta come here so that the shroud can drop in. Okay, so from there to there. Maybe plus or minus a little more. Oops, there we go. All right, now this can come back out. We can notch that one, measure it, and then transfer that to the other side. Bingo. Woo. Still toasty.
Spare parts.
Spare parts. Flip it upside down and put it back in. All right. Now let's dip one side in, see if that's enough clearance. If it is, we'll copy these measurements over there. Okay, so if you look right here, there we go. Oh, it's working.
Is it holding?
Oh yeah, not moving at all. But I guess the grill's gonna fall off any minute now, so let me stand here. All right, keep going.
Score!
All right.
Got it?
I think so. Now we can more accurately measure and cut the frame rail. Grab the radiator, let's see.
Okay.
So excited.
Should be about it right there.
The bar end up where we wanted it. Yeah.
Pretty close. By the time we get it welded in, rubber underneath, rubber on top, we should be good.
We got all kinds of room in here.
Oh yeah.
We have all kinds of room down here. There's plenty of room for our charge tube to come by here.
And if you really had to, if we design it like you said, just so we give a bolt to that fender, it'd be great in case you had to pull it out to really dig into the motor.
Yeah. It'll have to bolt to the fender, and then we'll also have to have a triangulation piece down to here, which will also have to be a tab and a bolt. Otherwise, you'll never be able to get the radiator back out. Yeah, this is good. I think we can now. I think
we come down here. Maybe it might be tight. I'm gonna say maybe weld a nut on the inside instead of doing a nut cert in that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
So I think now what we need to do is box in the frame rail, add the rubber. That'll set our height for this, and then we can design the tab and the bracket there. Then once that's there, we can design the strut rod that comes down here. Then we can make our upper mounts. Yeah, this is gonna work good. I like it. We'll cut 3 pieces on each side to box in the frame.
Okay.
Then this goes back in with rubber. That sets our height, and then we can worry about how we're gonna attach the top. So what you wanna do with this is, once you've put a level on this and make sure it's level, if it's not level, sand the cut down until it is level so that we know this is flat. Then when you cut these, you wanna cut it so that it leaves a 45-degree corner. You don't want the top of this flush with this.
Right, you want it down low.
Just below, so that the weld can fill the gap. And then
You want to do the bottom plate first?
And then the width should be, yeah, same deal with the width. We want to cut this piece, you know, whatever this distance is, want to cut the width down just a hair so that it sits on there, but it doesn't overlap and it's not flush. Now for the fun part, Joe and I have cut those frame rails. We have made pieces of metal strap that'll go in there to box them. Now it's time to weld them. And for that, we are using the same Miller we're giving away to you guys if you win. This is the Millermatic 142. Awesome machine for a variety of reasons. First off, it is very portable. This thing only weighs 40 pounds. It will run off 120 volt AC power. You can hook a spool gun if you feel like MIG welding aluminum. It has auto set technology in it, which means all I do is dial in the material thickness, and this machine will set the wire speed and voltage for you. Take it out of auto set, and you can tweak the factory settings. If you want to adjust wire speed, if you want to adjust voltage. If you ever get off track and want to go back to a factory setting, hit auto set again. It's just that simple. It will weld up to 3/16 of an inch steel in a single pass. At 100 amps, it's 60% duty cycle. That means if you have this thing set on 100 amps, you can weld for 6 minutes, wait 4 minutes, and go again in a 10-minute period. It is an amazing machine. It comes with a spool of wire, it comes with a regulator. All you need is a bottle of mixed argon and CO2, and you are ready to weld with this thing. It's your house, your friend's house, wherever you got to weld. In the field, stick it in your truck, this thing's ready to go. It's awesome. Okay, so we are gonna be welding. I'm gonna tack it on 1/8 of an inch because these frame rails and the plates we're welding are about 100 thou thick. So we're gonna go 1/8 inch. These are gonna be hot tacks. Once it's tacked, I'll back it down to 14 gauge, work a little slower, and it should weld beautifully. Let's find out. To ground it. Right there we have argon is turned on. Nice. Okay, as you can see, all of these plates have been trimmed just short of the width of the frame rail. It's giving us a nice corner to weld into. I'm just gonna make sure everything is lined up good here before I tack it. And now it is time to go to work. Whew, like butter. Take a look at that. This thing welds nice.
Yeah, those are nice welds.
I like it. It's very smooth. Very, very smooth. We don't need the magnets anymore. Our piece is there.
It did help though.
Oh, the magnets are great for setting.
Those little magnets are great. I like them.
For setting up parts, especially when you're by yourself, magnets are beautiful. I'm laying the beads on pretty fat so that we can go back over this and grind it, knock the weld down, and yeah, we'll make it look like it's kind of all molded together. Normally I don't like to grind welds down, especially if it's a nice bead. I don't want to grind that off, but this, I think we can make this look pretty cool if we... So right now what I'm doing is I'm cutting up 1/4 inch thick pieces of rubber. These are essentially industrial walking mats or standing mats for kind of deal where you put in front of a mill or a lathe or a heavy equipment that somebody stands around and operates all day long, and this cushions their feet. Well, it makes great isolators for things like radiators, because essentially you don't want the radiator to become a structural member of the vehicle, because if it does, then it tends to crack. So you want it to float in a rubber mount if possible. It extends the life of it. At least that's been my experience. So I'm gonna put a piece on the bottom and the front and the back of each one of these notches. Then we'll drop the radiator in. And right now they're just gonna sit in there. Long term, these will get glued in with adhesive once the frame's painted. But we're a long ways away from that, so.
I think that might be too many.
Oh, hold on. All right, go ahead and set her on in there.
Just not like that, huh? Maybe a little thinner pieces.
Yeah, the front one will need a thinner one. Does it not go down in on your side? Maybe take one of them out, take the one towards the motor out. All right. Yeah, the front one, if we lean the radiator back a bit, it'll go in. Otherwise, dude.
How's he look?
I like it. Plenty of room in here for our charge tube, plenty of room to access the front accessories. This bar will get put right down the middle there, and we can make tabs off of it to hold the radiator, the top part. This will get lifted up just a hair, and then we'll make a mount right here for the fender, and then we'll triangulate a mount from here down to the frame to hold that in. We'll make that upper bar bolt into place. This is gonna work, dude.
It's gonna work out good.
Yeah. We got easy access to our fan control right there. I like it. I like it a lot. Thought I saw a cockroach, but it's just fuzzies from our dragon blanket.
Those things, they shed and shed and shed and shed and never stop.
Yeah, they worked though. Look, like the motor, everything got protected. Like, it totally
Motor,
worked.
shocks, wheels.
Yeah, everything's good. Okay, next thing is to make the upper mounts. Let's see. All right, upper bar is tacked. Now we need to build the lower bar. This is the bar that's really going to provide a lot of extra support to this deal. It's going to triangulate this plate and the fender down to our frame rail. Now on this end, we're gonna cut probably, I don't know, 40-degree angle on this and weld it straight to that plate we just made, which is bolted to the fender. On the opposite end, same deal, we'll cut it on an angle. This won't get welded to the frame because we want this whole structure removable. This will get welded to another plate that we're gonna bolt to the end of the frame rail here. And we'll probably just drill and tap the frame rail because it's about 100 thou thick, and if we use, say, a 5/16 fine thread bolt, we can get enough threads in here to make this work. And yeah, it should be pretty sweet. So first thing I'm gonna do is make a rough cut on this deal. And we could use a lot of math to figure this whole deal out, but the great thing about what we have going on here is I have a perfect surface right here with a straight line, same here, and I can legit just hold the bar in the area I want it to go, and I can do the same here and mark it and trim it, and we should be real close to where we want to be. Now, the only time, well, not the only time, but one of the times where this will burn you is if I mark it vertically here and here. That works great if the bar is going straight, but if I want to cheat the bar and move it forward on the frame rail, then not only is it a straight cut, but it's angled this way, and you have to account for that. Otherwise, when you set the bar in there and then you do this, the front edge touches the back edge, has a massive gap. But we're not going to do that. Our bar is going to go straight this way, so it'll make a triangle between this whole deal. All right, so I'm going to cut it right there. I'll cut this end first, and then once this end is cut, then I'll go back and cut this other end. Okay, I'm not gonna go. Take a good look at it again. Tell me if you like it.
I like it.
All right, here we go. All right, people, keep this. Core support is pretty much done. Got our lower brace, we got our SARD brace. Top bars obviously was already there. Lower radiator mounts are done. I ran out of tubing. I can't build this mount here, so we're gonna finish this off by installing our new top mount, which is gonna hold our radiator right there. And this is gonna get a hole there and a hole there. We will drill and tap the bar, because there's plenty of meat there. And then we will pick up the existing bolt holes right here from Delta PAG's awesome fan shroud. Drill and tap all that, bolt it in, and we're done. D-U-N, done. Left side of the core support, very sturdy. The right side, I wouldn't lean on this fender just yet because I'm missing a tube. And we'll have more tube tomorrow and I'll finish that deal. But it's official. Our Delta PAG radiator is in. And now that we have both fenders mounted where we want them, we'll test fit the hood and then we'll pull this fender off and jump into making the mirror image turbo on this side go in, as well as that other down bar from the roll cage. Once those two things are in, oh man, hot side and cold side of the turbo system are next. That will be fun, and we'll show you that on a future episode of Finnegan's Garage. Thanks for hanging out. Ready for a beer? This might be my favorite part of the video, I gotta be honest. I love working on cars, and cars have given me so much. They have enriched my life in ways I could not ever possibly imagine, and I want that experience for everyone that watches this channel. I wish everyone could win this welder. I wish everyone could understand the joy that comes from melding metal together and sticking things together that don't fall apart. But sadly, not everybody can win, but I appreciate everyone that left a comment. They were inspiring, all of them. But the one that really stuck with me came from a guy named Michael Pecora, who told me that he's a stay-at-home dad, used to work in IT, he's in his mid-50s now and looking for another career, something else that he can do, because at his age, it's hard to start a career again. It's hard to get back into the workforce. And so he would love to learn to weld, and he would love to do projects at his house and maybe start a side business welding for other people and helping them. So Michael Pecora, this Millermatic 142 is yours, brother. Enjoy it. And if you have any questions or want any tips, feel free to shoot me an email. Email me either way, because I don't know how to contact you other than the fact that I know your name because you responded in the comments section of this video. Thanks to everyone that entered. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun making this video. Thank you to Miller Welders for once again stepping up to help me help you guys. See you next time.